And now it's time for another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Without a doubt, and I don't want to embarrass him, but it is so very true, if you don't know this guy's name, you're going to know this guy's name after this show, and probably even after the last couple of shows that Megan and I have already done where we've mentioned his name, and we've mentioned his name in the last couple of years as well, as he's played for the Milwaukee Admirals. He is one of the prospects for the Nashville Predators. He's one of their goalie prospects. One of the best names right now in the American Hockey League, Magnus Hellberg. Magnus, welcome to the show. You have a great name.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Now, I gotta ask you, is Magnus like a family name? Is it something that has come down the line a couple times? How did your parents come up with Magnus? I mean, because your last name is already killer with Hellberg.
Yeah, I think Magnus is a name that's been known for a very long time. I mean, there's a bunch of old Swedish kings that were named Magnus, I guess, but I don't really have anyone in my family who had that name before. I was supposed to be named Marcus, apparently, after my parents.
I like Magnus better.
Yeah.
Marcus
and then my mom thought that Marcus sounded so harsh.
Oh, really?
And I looked so nice and innocent, I think, so she thought Magnus was better.
Well,
that's at least the story she gave me.
I'm glad she went with Magnus because, you know, it's pretty cool. And you've already been in one fight, so you sound like a tough Swedish, Viking, kind of person. Because I know you were you've had a couple goalie fights, haven't you?
I've had, I don't even know if you can call it a fight, but I had one fight this year against John Hughes when we played the Charlotte Checkers.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've actually been off my gloves. But,
so why would you say that it wasn't a fight? What happened in that? Did you guys kind of meet up in the middle and then just dance a little bit? What happened?
No, it was one of their guys made a pretty bad hit on Rich Kloon on our team in a neutral zone, and then everybody just skated down to their end and start grabbing each other. So it was 5 versus 5, and then their goalie jumped on one of our guys on the back, and then I just figured I would skate down and grab him.
Excellent. So
yeah, it didn't last very long. So I was gonna hope my first goalie fight was gonna be to square off in the middle, but. I mean, it was fun. It was fun.
So somebody actually jumped Rich Kloon?
No, Rich Kloon got a bad hit.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like a knee tackle.
Okay, gotcha.
So I guess the other guys wanted to back him up. Then.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
that's where it started.
Okay, so you're from Uppsala, Sweden. Tell us a little bit about Uppsala and what is it like to grow up there as a young athlete and everything. Talk a little bit about your hometown.
Okay, so my hometown is located 45 minutes northeast from Stockholm, because a lot of people know where Stockholm is.
Yep.
But my city is the 4th biggest one in Sweden, but it's only 45 minutes away from Stockholm. So the distance in Sweden, if you compare it to here in the States, are a little shorter. But I mean, it's a university city, 200,000 people. Goes a canal, like water, downtown. So it's pretty beautiful. I think it was nice. I mean, I was living in a good area, growing up with my family. I had 5 minutes to the hockey rink. I had 5 minutes to where I played soccer. So I jumped on the bike and I biked every day. Like my parents didn't really have to give me a ride because I took the bike all the time. So no, it was fun growing up there for sure.
And it's probably because of the fact that you're 5 minutes away from a rink and you're 5 minutes away from a soccer field or an indoor soccer field for that matter. It makes it kind of easy. I mean, it's here in the States there are certain parts of the country, and I talk to American-born players all the time, and they tell me how mom has to get them up at 4:00 in the morning. They have to drive 45 minutes just to get to a rink. And then they practice for an hour, and then they come back, and then they have to go to school and everything. So for you, it was a very easy thing to get to the rink, to get ice time, to play competitively.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, my parents I don't want to take away that they always been there for me, and
sure.
and gave me a ride to practice and whatsoever early in the morning. But I think just like coming from a pretty small town, it's not really small if you talk about Sweden, but compared to the States here. But I think it's just like I had everything so close, and I had all my friends, and we just if you wanted to play pond hockey, we did that. If we wanted to go play soccer, we just took the bikes and went and grabbed a ball, soccer ball. I think just to be pretty free, like do whatever you want to do, was I think pretty nice for us.
I've been saying for a long time that, probably for specifically for the last 3 or 4 years, that players coming out of Sweden are probably some of the easiest guys to talk to if you're a media member. We had 5 B-Sens 2 years ago that were from Sweden. Zabinajad and Claesson is obviously from Sweden. But we've had a lot of Swedish players come through, and I've talked to them, and it almost feels like I'm talking to somebody from the States. It seems like there's the culture there is very similar. But I know that there's obviously a deeper history in Sweden than there is in the U.S. The U.S. has been around for about 250 years, and Sweden's probably had people living in it for 2,000 years. But why is it that when players from Sweden come over to America, it feels like they fit in so easily, that the culture is almost the same, and you guys' English is phenomenal.
Thank you. No, I can just speak for myself.
Sure.
But when obviously we start learning English in school when we're around 11 years old. The English language and American stuff is so built into our society. Mm-hmm. If I watch movies, I watch English movies. Of course, there's some Swedish ones too, but all the movies, TV shows, a lot of the shows on TV too, it's English. So I guess we just grew up to learn the language, and then, as you said, the cultures aren't that too far away from each other. But when I got over, I could speak the language pretty good. Mm-hmm. And obviously you get more than 20 new friends right away because you play on a hockey team, and they help you out too. And it's just been, for me, it's been really easy, the transaction by living here compared to Sweden.
And that's what I've noticed from a lot of the guys who played in Sweden or grew up in Sweden and then come over here and play. So for you, it was very easy to come over when you first came over to play with the Milwaukee Admirals and of course the Cincinnati Cyclones that first year for you. You're away from home, so obviously there's some things that you miss, but at the same time, the players on both of those teams in those cities, it was relatively easy for you to adjust.
Yeah, for sure. Now this is my 3rd year here, and we have a bunch of Swedish players that just came over, and now Kevin Fiala came over from Sweden yesterday. And I just think having your teammates take care of you in the beginning and teach you how to adapt and help you is, I think, huge, and that's what I've been doing a lot this year. With the new players coming in from Sweden, and it's a big step to move away from home and to be so far away from your family. But I think we do a pretty good job helping each other out with stuff, so we hang out and we keep ourselves busy. The hockey season is a pretty tough schedule, but and nowadays with technology too, it's not lost the word here. But it's not hard to call back with your family and stuff. But yeah, we try to take care of each other.
What has been the thing that you've learned about yourself as a goaltender playing over here in the States, whether it be for Milwaukee or Cincinnati, or even I believe you got a game up with Nashville? What have you learned about yourself as a player that you didn't know coming into playing in the States?
Oh, that's a tough question, and a complicated one. But I think I mean, being so far away from home, where you have all your family, you have all this stuff that makes you comfortable, and you move to another country where you're all alone, and have to adapt and deliver and play good. I think just like now it's my third year. What have I learned? I think a lot on the mental side. Like, obviously, I live by myself in Sweden, but to take care of myself and do all my bills and stuff in another language, and on the ice. I mean, I had a pretty rough injury last year.
Yep.
It took me 3 months to get back, and a lot of stuff has happened that makes you stronger. I mean, when you play good and everything is perfect, you don't think, you just go with the flow. But when things doesn't go your way and you have adversity, I think that's when you start to think, and people start to doubt you and stuff like that, and that's when you really show your true colors and grow as a person. So I had some ups and downs, but they made me stronger for sure. So yeah.
Well, Magnus, I was going to ask you about, being injured and coming back, because I truly believe, now I was a left winger, so I never played goal. I was too afraid of getting hit by the puck. I mean, I just still am. I don't care. If I could be on the ice and someone hits a puck, I'm still ducking a little bit. So I don't know how you guys do it. It's crazy, goaltenders being able to, just kind of, allow people to throw pucks at them. But I got to ask you, because when you're injured and you're coming back, there's a confidence factor that sometimes maybe centers and left wings and defensemen don't necessarily have to also battle through. And I think confidence is a huge thing when it comes to goaltenders. When they're confident, they're usually playing on the top of their game. Was that the hardest part of coming back from an injury? Was building that confidence back up?
Yeah, I think so. I think my first year here, we had a really good run for the playoffs, and we ended the first year pretty good. So I had a lot of expectations for my second year, and I got hurt my first practice in the rookie camp, and I was out in the beginning of the year. Got back, and you always want to play good. I think I'm the one who puts the most pressure on me, but you always have pressure from everybody else too. And then I got injured. And you want to get back, and everybody has been playing. You've been sitting out for 3 months, and you want to play the top of your level, but your confidence isn't really there because you've been along for a long time and stuff like that. So no, that's pretty much it.
When you talk about this season a little bit, you got named to the All-Star for your first time. You were 7-4-2 when you were named with a 1.89. And you guys have only continued to win games probably since that announcement. You're now 11-4-2. Your save percentage is looking really good. You're having a really good year. Matter of fact, your goals against is now down to 1.75 on this season. What is it about this team this year, the defense in front of you? And I think part of it, and a lot of people don't really understand this, there's a communication that happens sometimes between goaltenders and defensemen, and or even just the other players on the ice, and it's a very important part of the game, correct?
Communicate, yeah, for sure. I mean, we went into the season with a pretty young team. We had a lot of new guys, and we started off really well. I think we had like 7 straight wins. But since we were such a young team, I think we when things didn't go our way, like a lot of players weren't used to that. And every team gets ups and downs during a season, but when we started playing our game again, kept it simple, we started winning games again, and now we're on a really good streak as well. And we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of good, skilled players. But a lot of people might say that we have a really young team, but I mean, everybody is buying into the concept and believing it every day and push each other, so I'm not worried at all.
I watched Dean Evanson play actually here in Binghamton for a while, and I know the kind of person and the kind of player that he was. What's it like, being coached by Dean?
I like him a lot. He's an honest guy. He says what he thinks. There's no bullshit. And he has he's like, you listen when he talks.
Yeah.
He puts a lot of pressure on the guys, and they know it. And if you do something wrong, he will let you know. But I've had him now for a couple of seasons, and no, I like him. Stan Rulia, they compensate each other really well too. So no, I like our coaching staff.
Now, obviously, you want to make it to the, Nashville Predators, and obviously get to play, more than. Well, I think you got 5 minutes in your first game in Nashville. Was that? Am I correct on that? 5 minutes. I think you let one goal in, 3 saves.
12 minutes.
So you were there for 12. Okay, you had 12 minutes. That's right. My apologies. 12 minutes you played. Talk about that first game, because you get up there and you're obviously on the bench, and then you get brought in for 12 minutes and everything. What was that like to play your first NHL game, even if it was in relief?
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. It's obviously a dream I've had since I was a little kid starting to play hockey, to play in an NHL game, and obviously it was in Nashville, sold out, home rink, so it was just cool to get the call at first, and then I backed up the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I backed up my second game against St. Louis, and they were really good. They scored 3-0 pretty quick, and I guess that's when I started to think, like, you always try to be ready, but that's when I started thinking, like, okay, maybe he's going to do something soon, Barry Trotz. And they scored 4-0, and I was like, okay, he might call my name now, but he didn't. And then they scored their 5th goal, and he just said, Magnus, get in the net.
Okay.
So I just grabbed my helmet and skated on the ice.
Now, what were you thinking when you skated on the ice? You grab your helmet, you start to skate on the ice, and obviously you're going to go over to your net, and you're going to start, prepping the net the way you like it and everything. Some guys, skate it. But what were you thinking at that moment?
I think, you just got into this bubble where you didn't think much. You just put your mode on when you go on the ice, but where nothing can really disturb you. But of course, I realized I was standing there, and maybe not the best, like down 5-0. They were pushing hard, and but for me personally, it was a dream come true. Even though we unfortunately didn't win the game, but to get my debut was pretty amazing.
No, absolutely. I don't doubt that. I always ask forwards and defensemen who they scored on first. Do you remember from St. Louis who scored on you?
Yeah, I think it was Pietrangelo.
Okay.
Yeah, and Alexander Steen, my Swedish countryman, was standing in front of me and screening me. So yeah, I remember it. I should have had it. But,
did you say anything to him when he was screening you as the puck went into the net? Because I'm sure you were like, oh no, I don't want to give up a goal in my first game being in here. But did you say anything to him afterwards?
No, I didn't.
I probably would have said quiet. I probably would have said something to him in Swedish that you can't repeat on this show. Personally, that's probably what I would have done. Hey, listen, obviously you want to play in the NHL again. That's obvious. But what is your goal for this season, obviously with the Millads?
Yeah, of course. Now when I've been up in Nashville and see how it is, of course I want to be there. But it's a process, and that's my long-term goal. And I think for this season, if you compare to last year, I tried to have a little bit more relaxed mindset and just take one day at a time and one game at a time. And now I'm with Milwaukee, and I'm trying to do my best to help us win games. But no, just try to work with the goalie coach down here, David Rook, and just try to be better every day. So I don't look too far ahead. I just try to take one game at a time. I know it sounds like a cliche, but that's actually what I'm doing. But yeah, to get a lot of playing minutes for sure.
Well, you're going to the. when you're going to the All-Star game, talk a little bit about being selected to that. How, I know a lot of players like the few days off and everything, but you're being celebrated for the work that you've done so far this year and everything. The team has won 7 in a row now, but talk a little bit about going to the All-Star game in Utica. I don't know if you guys have played in Utica or if you guys play against Utica at all this year and everything. It's a small barn, but it's one of those where when there's a lot of people there, it's pretty exciting. So talk a little bit about being named to the All-Star game.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. It's a big honor for me to be selected and represent Milwaukee Admirals in that All-Star game. So, no, I'm excited. If you think about, like, obviously I'm going back to last year a lot, but that was a season that I learned a lot about myself as a goalie and like as a person. But I think it was just nice to get this selection, and it feels like I redeem myself a little bit and show people that I can still play good hockey. So, I'm really happy with it.
All right. Well, obviously you're playing excellent hockey right now. Great numbers in the American Hockey League. I hope you get the call up to Nashville again here soon. And if not, I hope you guys go really deep into the playoffs. Milwaukee Admirals, the players and the staff there, Charlie Lawson, who I know contacted you to get on this show. Great people. I love the guys out in Milwaukee and everything. So once again, thanks for coming on the show. We totally appreciate it, and good luck the rest of the season. And maybe I'll say hello at the All-Star game when we're walking around.
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to seeing you, and thanks for having me on your show.
Awesome. And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this Power Play Post Show interview exclusive. Remember to join Bob and Megan every Thursday night for an all-new edition of the Power Play Post Show.